All right, before we get started, Tom, do you happen to have a massively successful, incredibly professional podcast under your belt?
Unfortunately not.
Tremendous.
Welcome to the Couple of Shankers Golf Podcast with Ben and Tom Sherrard.
This is the first episode of the Couple of Shankers Golf Podcast, and I am Ben Sherrard. I'm here with my brother Tom. Hi, Tom.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, it's evening.
Good evening.
It's pitch black as I've just posted
Sorry.
on Instagram how late it is. Kids are asleep. So, now I thought first episode, this isn't actually our proper real first episode, because we're going to do that in a little bit. This is our launch episode. Okay. So, I thought probably the best thing to do is introduce ourselves so we know who each other are, and talk a little bit about our respective golfing careers. One of ours will be slightly longer than the other, and really what we want the podcast to be about. So, I think, first of all, why don't we talk about what we want this podcast to do and who should listen to it. So from your point of view, Tom, who are you doing this for? Who do you want to be listening to this?
Anyone with a slight interest in golf, really.
We're really chunking that niche down then.
Yeah, really honing in on a specific target audience. No, I feel obviously, there should be something here for everyone. We'll go through various things during the time of this, but, anything from sort of general tips all about, how to play and the new handicap system that's coming in next year and everything like that for the club golfers to sort of elite level competitions. Hopefully some of my experiences will help guys trying to make that transition from elite amateur to pro golf and everywhere in between, really.
Well, we can come on to your experience in a little bit, because you've got a couple of interesting perspectives. So we're recording at the moment in my living room, and we've got a replay of the final round of the Porsche Open on, and just a little insight. The first thing you said about one of the shots someone was playing was that it had been terribly mown around the green, because you are a greenkeeper at the London Club.
I am, for my sins, yeah.
So I think probably best if we move on to the interview section where we start actually talking about letting people know who we are. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to interview you.
Okay,
sounds great. And then you're going to interview me.
Okay.
You sound surprised about it, which is great podcasting, but we have worked on the questions this afternoon. So
briefly,
we've had a bit of a chance to see this ahead of time.
Brief each other.
Yeah. So this isn't going to take long. As I say, it's our launch episode, so we're not going to hang about and really get into too much detail, and probably some of the.
That's what you think.
Yeah. So and they were never heard from again. Some of the questions are probably going to end up being episode topics where we'll pick up and talk in more detail, but. So let's start off with a really, really specific question. Your brief golf CV.
Again, really niching it in there.
Yeah.
Briefly as I can, started very young, around about 2 or 3 years old, I believe. Started at the range, plastic clubs, that whole jazz. Joined my first golf club, which was the Ridge Golf Club in Kent when I was about 7. Yeah, absolute nostalgia right there. And then slowly sort of worked my way down the handicap system, and then when I was sort of 11 or 12, got into sort of Kent regional squads, and then that turned into Kent under 16s, under 18 squad, which turned into England under 16s, under 18s. Then when I was 19, I went to college in the States. I did a 4-year stint out there at Georgia State University. Go Panthers. And then, there's been a few highlights along the way, obviously. After that, I turned pro. So turned pro when I was 23. So that would have been back end of 2010, beginning of 2011. Played a few years. It didn't quite pan out, unfortunately, for various bits. I'm sure we'll get into that as we go through the podcast. And now I'm greenkeeping. I've done a couple of stints, but I'm currently at the London Club. Love the day-to-day. And yeah, that's about it, really. That is as brief as I can be.
I mean, we've buried the lead a little bit, considering that on Instagram I've trailed this as a podcast including a former major competitor.
Yes.
And at the moment, people would be led to believe that was me. Not as funny as you're making it sound. Offence taken. We're going to come on. I suspect you might touch on that in one of the next questions, but just in case there's any,
I don't need an invite to talk about it. To be honest, I'm sure I can crack straight into that whenever needed.
To avoid any doubt on behalf of the listener, the major competitor was not me.
That is true. Unfortunately, not.
Earliest golfing memory.
Oh wow! One of my earliest golfing memories was hitting the first green at the Ridge Golf Club in 2, which I believe is about a 360-yard hole. I hit driver onto the front edge,
yes.
And I was using a DDH golf ball, and I thought it was all down to the golf ball, and swore I'd play DDH for the rest of my days at that point. And that lasted about 2 holes until I lost that ball. Brilliant. And found another random ball. So, yeah, that's probably one of my earliest memories.
Great. I love it, DDH. Bring it on. Can you remember what the driver was?
I want to say a Wilson Berg.
Well, I remember that Wilson Berg.
The blue Wilson Berg, which I don't know if that was junior or ladies.
Oh, get in.
But yeah, it was a pretty awesome weapon.
Shout out to the Wilson Burgers out there.
Massive. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Tom, any big competitions that you've played in?
Well, I mean, I feel like we've dropped the ball on this one already. My great party story. Fortunately enough, in 2008, I qualified to play in the British Open at Royal Birkdale, which was Paddy Harrington's second win of his 2 in a row.
Can you remember what his winning score was? I was trying to remember this the other day.
I believe it was +3.
Yeah, that's right. It was a rough old week, wasn't it?
It was brutal. I remember the first morning, I teed off about 11 o'clock, and I was watching TV in the morning, and basically watching Lee Westwood, who, let's face it, could probably stand up in quite a strong wind, failing to stand up in a strong wind. So, yeah, it was pretty brutal that first morning. And, yeah, I think it got a bit easier from there. But, yeah, certainly the first day was, brutal.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna breeze through a few of these. Favourite round you've ever played?
Probably the second round at the Open.
Yeah.
Shot 69. I think it was certainly in the top 10 scores that day.
Yeah.
To make the cut by 3 in the end, but that was probably the most fun I've had on the golf course.
I seem to remember feeling like you were around the bubble for most of that round, and then people fell away to get you in.
Yeah, I mean the scoring was atrocious.
Yeah,
I mean the conditions were the cut was +9, and I was +7 after the first round, and then teed off late. I literally bringing the dustbins in.
Yeah,
in the second round, real late stuff. I remember thinking I was there or thereabouts, and managed to get it round in 1 under, and ended up finishing 6th for the 2 rounds and making the cut by 3. So
brilliant. All right.
Yeah.
Next one, favourite round you've ever seen, either live or on TV?
On telly, as a spectacle, probably the last round of I believe it was 2010 Masters, which is where you had so many guys gunning for it, and I think Swartzel birdied the last 4 or something stupid like that to win it. That was one of my favourite rounds. Unfortunately, that will also be the year remembered for the year McIlroy absolutely gassed it. And I had a significant amount of money on McIlroy.
Right.
So I didn't really enjoy it at the time as much as I probably should have, bearing in mind it was an unbelievable spectacle of sport. Seen live, there's a couple, but one of my favourites would have to be. There's a warning. There's going to be a name drop here. When I played with Dustin Johnson in college, he'd shot 268s the first 2 rounds. He was 2 over through 9 in the third round, which is the final round in college tournaments. And his coach basically came up to him and said, "Right, pull your finger out. We need you to do something." And he proceeded to come back in 30, so 6 under, to make it 368s. And just watching a guy turn it around like that, and being next to him to watch him do it was, that was pretty spectacular, I have to say.
Wow, the name drop was pretty spectacular. That was excruciating to watch. Well done.
Yeah,
I appreciate
you.
it.
I've saved it, well there. I've gone in early, first 5 minutes, I think, and we've already gone in. So
we've already
I really
dropped
built up
DJ.
to that one.
Yeah,
really well done that.
Right, favourite major. What's your favourite major? Come on.
Being British, I know I should say the British Open or the Open if you're a real traditionalist.
The Open, come on.
But I'm going to go with the Masters.
Right.
I think it just sets the tone for the year, and it's just an awesome course to look at, isn't it? I mean, it just looks mega
beautiful.
on telly.
It's stunning.
So I'd have to go with the Masters there.
Golfing idols.
Growing up, Faldo was probably my main idol. Obviously, English at the time, sort of early 90s, mid 90s. He was
Could have been Paul Broadhurst.
Bossing it.
Could have been.
It could have been Barry Lane. We could go on for
that mullet.
Yeah.
Beaut.
A superb
Beaut.
rivaled hair only by Robert Rock, who does have the best hair in golf. There's no two ways about it. Definitely Faldo, and then sort of latter. So it's hard not to say Woods for what he's done with the game.
It is tricky. Yeah.
But Justin Rose as well at the moment. Just the way he swings a golf club is just a joke, to be quite frank. I happily have intercourse with his golf swing. So,
This is a family podcast. We're going to.
Okay.
We don't want that explicit
Kids,
sign.
I really, really like his golf swing.
He wants to special cuddle his golf swing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's what that is.
Favorite TV show? Off topic.
Oh wow, that is off topic. Christ.
Considering you wrote that question,
I really should have had
massively
a better
unprepared.
answer for this. God. Yeah, massively. Because I kind of want to say what I think you're going to say, and that's going to make us sound really dull.
Just say Suits. It's definitely Suits.
It wasn't Suits. No.
You do love you some Suits.
West Wing was amazing.
Right, stop it.
Yeah, see, then that's what I mean. So I will go the Teletubbies.
Brilliant.
Complete break from the West Wing. Couldn't think. Put me on the spot, even though I wrote that question about 5 hours ago. I've had literally all afternoon to think about it, and I've come up with the Teletubbies. So you can see the quality of this podcast.
Very few episodes of the Teletubbies written by Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Right. One course you'd love to play.
Augusta.
Yeah.
Would probably, but I think that would be on every
end of
golfer's
conversation.
list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. In the UK though, Queenwood. I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Love to get on there. So
don't you need to know like Ant or Deck to play it?
Or both.
Or
both. I think you got more chance if you know both.
Yeah.
I think you need to have some serious wonga or lots of drugs. I don't know. I'm joking. Clearly, I'm joking.
Never going to get an invite.
Kids.
Never going to get an invite.
No, Whoops.
It's all right. I don't think they listen yet.
Yeah, true. It is later.
Okay. Favourite course you've ever played?
The old course is pretty special.
Yeah.
I will say, as a rule, the first time I played it, I did not like it at all.
Really?
Yeah. You could basically... I tend to hit a fade.
Right.
And you can basically play that golf course by hitting a snap hook. It's literally 9 out, and you play up the right-hand side, and 9 in, and you play up the right-hand side, and you can just snap hook your way around and shoot a decent number. I basically ended the week, every week I played there, just hitting a massive, over-the-top pull cut, starting at least 70 yards left of where I was actually aiming. But having played it the first time and not thinking much of it, I went back a second year and absolutely loved it. Just the whole place is amazing.
So is it it's difficult, but trying to be objective about it. Is it just a really good golf course, or is it the history and the feeling you get
when
you're
there? As a golf
there?
course, it's not that great.
Yeah.
It is. It's definitely the feeling of being there.
Yeah,
I mean, layout wise, like I said, it's 9 in, 9 out. There are a couple of 17 is genuinely a really good golf hole, the road hole.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's no, in my opinion, there's no holes that you'd sort of, if you were put on there and you didn't know anything about golf or St Andrews and you were put on there, there's no real holes you'd go there and go, wow, that's an amazing golf hole.
Okay. All right. So now we're in the quickfire stage because on the show notes we had like 5 minutes for this section. I think we're already at sort of 15 or so. So
sorry, I talk a lot. Sorry, gang.
Right. Quickfire round. One word answers. Ready?
Yes.
Drive or putt?
Drive.
Stroke play, staple foot or match play?
Match play.
Links or inland?
Inland all day long.
Draw or fade?
Fade, obviously.
Chip or bunker?
Bunker.
Flop shot or chip and run?
Chip and run traditionalist.
Tiger or Nicholas?
Tiger.
Tiger. Right. Very good. Very good. Okay. So that is the quick intro to Tom and Tom's golf. So now
Apologies.
we're going to turn the tables, and it's your turn to interview me.
I am the Parkinson now.
Parky.
Okay.
That's the second name drop of the day.
Well, I mean, it's not like I've met him.
Parky.
Sorry, mate. Oh, I didn't realise you were Bez's. On nickname terms. Right, Ben.
Yeah.
In questions that you've never seen or heard before.
Sure.
Can I please have a brief golf CV?
Yeah, okay. So started golf when I was maybe 5 or 6. Played for a while. Got a handicap of 35. That came down a bit. Went to join the first club, which was the Ridge Golf Club. Again, big up the Ridge. Absolute wonder track.
Love that.
Junior captain the year we won the league. Throw that in there.
Wow.
Absolutely loved it.
Good Lord.
And then I went to university and someone got my golf clubs thrown on a roof.
Yeah, that would be me.
And that's a story for another podcast,
that wasn't
maybe.
made clear, viewers.
And viewers. And,
well,
you don't listen to many podcasts, do you?
No.
Went to university.
Too busy watching Teletubbies, to be honest. So,
didn't play golf much at university. Basically discovered beer and Jack Daniels, and that sort of got in the way a bit. Came out of semi-retirement about a year and a half ago.
I must have missed that official retirement announcement.
And,
Sky Sports News wasn't quite going at the rate it is now then.
And
so.
now, no, I wasn't on the live feed. And now, so now I'm playing off 11. Never been invited to play in the Open yet, but
it just keeps getting lost in the post. Mate.
I've got plenty of golf left in me, so we'll see how it goes.
We all know that you hit a lot of golf shots, mate. So
I've hit plenty.
All shapes and sizes. Well, thank you for that. We missed out basically from when you were about 22 till now, which is 35.
So did I.
But yeah, about to say there wasn't really much golf in there. So
not a lot.
Well, let's talk about your earliest golfing memory then.
Right, earliest golfing memory is probably 1993 Ryder Cup.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think we watched it in 1993, but I remember the VHS, and I remember watching the VHS over and over, and the Seve on the 10th at the Belfry.
Yeah,
probably my earliest golfing memory.
Yeah, I remember Davis loving that as well. I think he played Rocker, and I think that was the deciding game.
Constantino Rocker.
Yeah,
get in.
I think that was the deciding match.
What a player!
Yeah, we got smashed again.
The
obviously.
best Italian golfer. And hang on.
Oh. Sorry, what's that? You all right then, or?
Sorry, we'll cut that bit out.
Oh, okay, cool.
Note for listeners, we've been interrupted by the cat. Carry on.
Yes, well, you were halfway through saying Constantino Rocca is the best Italian golfer
ever. Surely, I'm not forgetting anyone, am I?
I mean, you're missing major champs there. Well, Rocca lost in a playoff, but you are missing the Molinaris.
There's only 2 Molinaris.
And the Manaseros. But other than that, you're quite good. And I apologise to any other Italian golfers that are very good, but we've completely mugged you off, basically. Apologies. Any big competition wins. This will be a short.
Yes.
Oh,
1995 Ridge Junior Handicap Champion.
I'm not sure that in the scheme of things counts as big, but it is all relative.
I'm having it.
So I'll
Don't
give
take
you
it
that.
away from me.
The favourite or your favourite round you've ever played?
Not one particularly sticks in the memory for being positive, I suppose.
I remember you shot a 73
There-
in a medal at the Ridge,
Yes.
which was a net 61 or
I
something.
did shoot a net 61.
And lost on countback.
And I lost on countback.
Yeah.
So whilst the round...
By the way, who's doing that? Like who's going like 8 deep on the back nine in a medal as well? Like Stableford, I kind of get, but like in a medal, like who does that? That's ridiculous. I'm looking back in the archive because I'm not having.
The guy who beat me, that's who does it.
Yeah, it's like Pat Bevan. Oh, that's right.
Pat Bevan. Oh,
Elephants never forget.
I know exactly where you live.
Cautionary note: that is not a threat.
Right, next.
Favorite round you've ever seen? I mean, if my ears aren't burning in about 2 minutes' time, I will be very disappointed.
So there's a couple.
Okay.
Undoubtedly, Lowry, the Saturday at the Open just gone.
Brilliant.
Was incredible to watch.
Oh,
Just loved it.
Okay.
But I know what I know what you want me to say. You want me to talk about Tiger Woods on the 16th
Yeah.
at the Masters.
Of course.
Was just pretty phenomenal.
What was that? That was the last round. Was that
That was the last
05
round.
or something?
07?
Somewhere, yeah, in that mid 2000s,
Yeah.
and it was DeMarco.
Chris
What people
DeMarco.
forget is that Woods then bogeyed 17 and 18 to get in a playoff against DeMarco, and then obviously Woods won.
To be fair, I had
he's
forgotten
a
that.
joke, but well, that's what I mean. DeMarco, who was probably the first one to really have the claw grip when
Yeah.
he putted.
Oh, was he? It's his fault.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure it was around before then, but he was the guy that I remember really first coming out with it big. But anyway.
So in all seriousness, favourite round I've ever seen is, for obvious reasons, your final round at Birkdale in the Open, because your finish,
Yeah.
you finished. Now, when I tell the story,
Yeah.
you hold out from like 180 yards
Yeah.
on your third shot. It was probably about 70.
Not even.
Not even.
I think it was about 60.
60 yard for eagle from,
Yeah.
and again, out of the deep spinach.
Yeah, we won't
when
mention
tell
how
it.
I got there in the first
Yeah.
place.
But
I mean, up until that point, the round was complete tripe. I should just add that in. It was god awful.
But hold out, and again,
yeah.
when I tell it, it just fell dead weight into the hole. I mean, it's lucky it hit the stick.
I mean, it was in the grandstand if it didn't hit the stick.
but
so,
it went
yeah.
in for eagle, and then the birdie up the last.
Which was legit, I have to say.
What I'll never forget is the noise of the grandstand on the 17th, just surrounded by grandstand, that 17th green.
yeah, it
and
was
the
pretty
noise
special.
was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so, walking down the last was just I'm absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
And to hear
Cursing my name,
to hear the crowd sort of cheer when you hold the birdie putt. And you got that I'm going to name drop now. You've got that picture of you and Big John Baker, your caddy,
That household name.
the household name JB, with his arms up in the air as the
Yeah.
putt goes in. That was
I remember a
pretty
double
special.
high five on the 17th, which was possibly the worst celebration. I mean, it's up there with the Lehman Langer chest bump that went horribly wrong. Just horrific, but there we go.
Very good.
Never mind. You've made me blush now.
Oh.
Favourite major?
Masters again.
Yeah.
And I've wondered why that is, because again, I'm like you, absolutely should say the Open. I think it's because the Masters is the only major where the venue doesn't change.
Yeah, I think you get to know the golf course.
Yeah. It's
quite well.
it's like I can tell you what the 12th at Augusta.
Yeah.
I feel like I know every inch of that.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
yeah.
set foot there. I feel like I
Yeah.
know every inch of it. Watched the Open a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Can't tell you what the 12th.
Yeah.
at Port
yeah,
Rush
I
is.
get that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a very fair point. Who are or who were Your golfing idols.
So, for reasons I absolutely can't explain, my first golfing idol was Bernard Langer.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Absolutely no idea why. I think I just liked his golf swing. Again, that's off of the 1993 Ryder Cup VHS. Again, can't remember why. But more recently, sort of enduringly, Ernie Els for me.
Yeah.
It's just, Big Ernie is just my favourite golfer to this day. My favourite golfer of all time. Recently, I'm very much enjoying Tommy Fleetwood, and I'm very much enjoying Tony Finau.
Yeah, both great players.
Yeah, so and Tommy Fleetwood from I need to emulate that swing perspective.
Not the hair, though?
Not the hair. I don't think I could pull the hair off.
Okay.
And Tony Finau, just because he seems like an absolute dude.
Yeah, I mean,
He
anyone who
seems so cool.
pretty much breaks their ankle the day before the Masters and then just goes out and finishes like top four or whatever
just sort
it was.
of nonchalantly just pops it back in as well. Have some of that.
Yeah, that was both amazing and absolutely hideous to watch, to be honest. Off topic.
Yeah.
Favourite TV show?
West Wing, next.
I called it. The one course you'd love to play.
So this is born out of just years, it feels like years and years of playing PGA Tour golf on the Mega Drive, on the PlayStation, Sawgrass.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Get me there.
I'll tell you about it one day. Mate.
Oh, will you?
Yeah.
Oh,
don't worry about that.
Right.
I'll tell you about it.
I can't describe the signal I'm giving my brother at the moment. I was saying on WhatsApp the other day, I was saying, oh, you played, oh my God, you played Sawgrass, that's amazing. Did you hit it on the 17th? You were like, mate, I've played like 8 times.
Yeah, I was fortunate in the States to play a tournament there, I think 1 or 2 times and a couple of other bits. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to play there on multiple occasions. And
Just,
it's pure.
It was like a Saturday morning swindle by the end of it.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then your favourite course that you've ever played?
The Royal Weald of Kent. No, not the
Good
Weald
Lord.
of Kent. Tell you what, though, great condition recently.
Well, that's what I've heard.
Best course I've ever played, and if you're following us on Instagram, you will know. You'll have seen some archive footage of us playing at the London Club.
Oh wow!
Heritage.
Again, I'm blushing.
The Heritage
Goodness
course.
Me.
Fortunately, you cut the grass on the other course now, so it has got much better.
Yeah.
Very recently.
It's improved no end.
But
in the last 3 weeks.
So I clearly, my golfing career has not taken me around the world as it has you. So 20 minutes up the road is about as far as I can get.
Real expanse you've covered there.
I can remember a couple of golf courses from like Florida on holiday, but
Kissimmee airport course I think we played.
Kissimmee,
yeah, Kissimmee, and I don't know if we actually played that.
Cannot remember that. I remember Lostwithiel.
Oh, that's Wales.
Yeah, I remember Lostwithiel.
Yeah,
is it Wales or is it Cornwall?
I mean, it sounds Welsh.
I'd like to apologise to all our future Cornish and Welsh listeners.
Yeah, true. Apologies.
Two famously easygoing peoples when it comes to national pride or regional pride.
Whoops.
There we go. Heritage course at the London Club.
Okay, lovely. Good choice, I have to say. Good choice. Good Jack Nicklaus design. Very nice.
Oh, there we go.
We move on to the quick fire round.
Right, bring it.
You've probably had a bit of time to think about this, though, having just asked me the same question.
Sure
so I
have.
don't know how quick fire it is. But anyway, we'll do this snap as we can. Drive or putt?
Putt.
Stroke play, stable field or match play?
Match play.
Draw or fade?
Fade.
Chip or bunker?
Bunker.
Flop shot or chip and run?
Flop shot.
Tiger or Nicklaus?
Tiger.
Those eagle-eyed listeners, I don't know if that's a thing, probably not, will notice I missed out a question, which was links or inland?
Inland, because if you've ever seen me hit a golf ball, you'll know that low, flighty trajectory is not necessarily a weapon in my arsenal.
Yeah, normally your hazards are normally Boeing 747s and the moon. So Yeah, anything at ground level is not normally in danger with you. So
Yeah.
I can understand that. Yeah.
Right, so there we go. That's
100%.
the first 5 minutes of the podcast done. As I said at the beginning, this is our launch episode. This isn't actually our first proper episode. Our first proper episode is going to come out after the BMW Championship at Wentworth, because we're lucky enough we've got a few tickets to go and see the Sunday at Wentworth, which I'm really excited about. So we're going to do our first proper episode as a kind of a recap from watching that Sunday. But I think just as a really quick, he says, preview, Tom, what are you looking forward to the most about getting up to Wentworth? Who are you looking forward to seeing? What's your take on the week?
Massive event now. Now it's part of the
Huge.
Rolex series.
Yeah.
Real big event.
And
The
the schedule's helped, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite a few Americans coming over. I think there's a few guys bidding for sort of picks for the President's Cup. Obviously, they come out beginning of November. It's a big event. The US season, the main season, as it were, is sort of drawn in now. They're doing their sort of winter swing, as it were. But I think the top guys tend not to play those events just to have a bit of a breather. But
I mean, I'm looking at the draw, and you're looking at the American names on the draw, and you've got Finau.
yeah,
You got Patrick Reed.
what was that? What's that about, Ben? What's that about?
Billy Horschel,
Yeah,
who's I don't know what it is about Billy Horschel, but he just seems like I absolutely no idea, but he just seems like the kind of guy who is so angry all the time, and I don't know why.
I mean, unfortunately, what people are going to find out is that because I played golf in the States around about the same time as a lot of these guys, I did play with a lot of them, so there will be a lot of name dropping. Billy Horschel's probably one of the nicest guys.
Is he?
Out there. Real nice guy, yeah. Genuinely really nice. I mean, I think he runs hot, but I think, he's a passionate guy, but he's genuinely a top guy, I have to say. And that's not just me. I will probably tell you if there's guys out there that aren't top guys. But yeah, he's genuinely, he's a good guy.
Let me just pick out. No, I won't pick out. Just strategically pick out some golfers I know you're not a huge fan of.
Absolute D-bags.
The good thing for me is I can't see Keegan Bradley's name on here.
I don't think we've got more than 3 weeks to play the tournament.
Don't know what he's like as a chap. Might be a lovely chap. Might love his mum. Might be really good. Donate to orphanages and things. But I cannot watch that guy play golf. It is painful watching him play golf.
I mean, yeah, it's just hideous, isn't it? I mean, there's no other way to describe it. I was going to try and sugarcoat it, but no, it's painful. It is painfully slow. Obviously, that's a topic that's at the forefront of everyone's mind at the moment.
Let's leave slow play for now, because we're slow playing this podcast at the moment.
True.
Well behind pace.
Love that.
Oh, what a segue!
Yeah, that is
that's not a segue, really, is it?
Segue.
So I've got the field in front of me. So you're slightly hampered here, but
and since I can't see
come
it
on,
at all.
neck on the line. Who's winning it?
Oh, Christ. I think Fleetwood's probably a good shout. A bit boring, because I think a lot of people would say that.
Tommy Fleetwood's never boring.
Great point, actually. Yeah,
Never
very
boring.
good. It's a weird one, because generally it's quite a big course, but you look through winners previously, and there's some quite short hitters in there.
Yeah.
Dating back early 2000s, I remember Garrido winning it one year. Who you wouldn't say was a long hitter. Manacero, again, quite short. Even last year, Molinari.
He's not known for bombing it, is he?
No, not someone you'd go, oh, he's an absolute bomber. But then you have had guys, I think Noren's won it. I mean, he just flushes it.
Yeah.
He hits it miles.
He nearly killed me last year. I went to watch on the Thursday last year, and Alex Noren nearly killed me with a golf ball.
I feel like those two things are unrelated. I think he probably just met you for 5 minutes and nearly killed you.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's a That's a great claim to fame.
I took it personally.
Well, yeah, I don't blame you.
I forgave him when he held that monster putt to beat DeChambeau at the Golf National, though.
True.
I forgave him then.
Yeah, that's
that
a
was
fair
all right.
point. Yeah. Yeah, other than that, yeah, Pepperell always has a good following there. He normally brings a good crowd with him.
Absolute champ, that guy.
I think the golfing equivalent of the Barmy Army,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Absolutely.
It may well be the Barmy Army after today's Ashes form or yesterday's Ashes form because they're no longer needed. So,
Oh, dear.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, we're just watching highlights now. Casey obviously winning last week.
He's on
probably
form.
going to be a good shout.
He's on form.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the weather as well. Being in England, you can never... Oh, nicely done. Being in England, you can never call it. So, yeah, the weather's going to play a part, I think. But, yeah, there's some real good players. Really looking forward to seeing it. And I think, yeah, definitely a good few guys that could win that one.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there. This first time I had seen the place last year. I went to watch the Thursday. Got to see Ernie Els in real life. That was literally a dream come true. His swing is as smooth as butter in real life. Absolutely incredible. Just loved it. It is. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just a saying. It was smooth as silk, butter. It was smooth as smooth things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
smooth as something smooth.
There we go. I'll cut that bit out.
Painting a picture with words.
Yeah. Such a wordsmith. But I'm looking at the field. Alex Noren would be a good shout. My heart wants to say McIlroy just to sort of top off what has actually been an unreal season.
Yeah, under the radar in the sense that not many people...
Well, I think if you asked anyone, they'd say, oh, he hasn't had a good year.
Yeah.
But he's won the Players.
Yeah.
He won... What did he win really recently?
Well, he won the FedEx.
He won the FedEx.
Yeah.
That's what he won really recently.
I mean, that's no minor win right there.
And sort of came top 10 in something stupid like 60-70% of the tournaments he started.
I think it was about 14 of 19 or something stupid.
Just unreal.
Real good record.
But if I'm walking into the bookies with my own money, I'm going to put some money on Matt Wallace to win.
Oh.
Yeah, I obviously he's, is he fairly new? Like to people who don't know golf very well, so people like me, he seems like a fairly new name. Like the Masters last year with his first Masters, so he's a reasonably new name.
He went through really quickly. I'd say I think 2016 was his breakout year on the Alps Tour, which is one of the satellite tours, which is sort of the level underneath Challenge Tour.
Yeah.
He then played a few Challenge Tour events and then played a co-sanctioned event with the European Tour and the Challenge Tour, which he won.
Yeah.
Which then got him exemption onto the European Tour, and then he just bossed that.
Yeah.
So I think he's won 3 or 4 times on the European Tour now. So really, 2016 to now, so 3.5 years, he's gone from sort of playing low end pro golf, mini tour golf, whatever you want to call it, to being I wouldn't say household name, but certainly a name that any golf enthusiast would know.
Yeah, I think one of the best ways of putting it, we're not surprised if he's in the Ryder Cup next year.
I mean, I was surprised he missed out last time.
Yeah.
I think he birdie 8 holes in a row, including the holes in the playoff to win the Maid in Denmark, which was the last tournament before the picks,
just before,
in front of Thomas Bjorn, who's obviously that's where he's from. So, and he didn't get the pick. At the time I thought that was a bit iffy, but obviously the result went Europe's way, so you can't argue. He's based there as well. I think he does a lot of practice at Wentworth.
Oh, does he?
So it's familiar territory for him. So good shout.
It's did you say Fitzpatrick?
I didn't. I can do.
I thought. How
about Matthew Fitzpatrick?
It's because I'm looking at his name. Matt Wallace on the sheet. It actually says his affiliate club is the Belfry Hotel and Resort.
Yeah,
that's not bad, is it?
Yeah, I've seen him practice at Wentworth on Instagram and bits like that. But I believe his official attachment is the Belfry. Oh. He's got a parking spot there, so he's got to be.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he's got to be. I tried to nab it off him last time I was there because he wasn't, but.
They weren't having it.
He wouldn't answer that question when I asked him about it. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So there we go. That's look ahead. So I think my pick was Matt Wallace. Who did you end up picking?
I'll go Fleetwood.
Fleetwood.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
real, long shot. Real.
Yeah. Could have been worse. Could have chosen Justin Rose or someone. But
Well,
there we
yeah,
go.
true. Yeah,
All
fair
right.
point.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's the look ahead to the Wentworth. We've picked our winners, and the last thing to do just before we close up is talk about the Solheim Cup, because that is this week, and I am unbelievably excited. I love match play. I love Europe versus America. The Ryder Cup's my absolute favourite event. Solheim Cup not far behind, because I just love that atmosphere, that tension, that
I
format.
don't think you can beat that.
Just unreal.
Agreed.
I think we were talking just before we started. Obviously, Solheim Cup nowhere near as old as the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, 1990, I believe. I think the Ryder Cup was 1927.
But
So
massive controversy early, just all over the Solheim Cup.
yeah, I mean, we had that incident. I think it was Suzanne Petterson a few years ago
with Alison Lee.
Yeah, not officially conceding what I seem to remember was literally a foot putt.
It wasn't much of a putt at all.
And then obviously it all kicked off after that. So yeah, there's definitely some controversy. I think anything, any sport, America versus Europe, Moscone Cup pool.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that rivalry, which I believe is probably bred from the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's where that whole thing comes from. But
in a tournament so young, relatively speaking, that controversy kind of replaces history to begin with, and so you can get really excited about it because of. I think that controversy really lends it something. Itself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think without those sort of moments, it struggles to get off the ground as a spectacle. But with stuff like that, it just adds a bit. Yeah, it definitely adds a bit of fire to it. I guess people will debate whether it's the wrong or right way to do it. But undoubtedly, however you feel about it, it has added some sort of sauce to it, should we say? some jazz to it.
Love it.
So it's a great one. Glen Eagles, unbelievable venue as well. I was lucky enough to play there.
Oh, you've played there, have you?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I'll get used to it. No, it was another one last year, I think. You'll be happy to know with the first 4 holes, it absolutely hacked it down.
Good.
Real good golf course. Obviously, Ryder Cup was there a few years ago as well. So it's a real good golf course. Definitely looking forward to it. You've got an American team that aren't really that experienced on paper. I think they've got 18 caps between them and their team compared to Europe's 31. So you've got a lot more caps for Europe, but in a theatre like that, anything can happen. Nerves will get the better of some guys or some girls, I should say, and not others. Some people will really, go ahead and make a real name for themselves in that.
I'll be interested to watch this one for that reason, because one of the things I feel like the sort of the Ladies European Tour and the LPGA are getting a lot more airtime. I think people are seeing a lot more of it, and I feel like just women's sport in general. Like you sort of look at the Women's World Cup in the summer, massive following. It's felt like so much more media coverage. I feel like women's sport's getting a lot more attention. But one of the things I've always thought about the golfers on the LET and the LPGA is someone like me, hacker, just the stuff you learn, particularly in terms of putt. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a golfer on the LET or LPGA miss a putt. Literally, I don't think I've ever missed a putt. It's just unbelievable to watch them. Yeah. And so I'm really interested to see what I see as a real strength of those tours, a real strength of the women's game, short game putting. I'm interested to see how that holds up
as well. To be fair, girls like Lexi Thompson.
That's a fair point.
They absolutely shred it as well. So, but I agree.
it'd be interesting to see how that part sort of holds up under that pressure.
I think the putting, especially, it's so. It's so black and white. You either hold it or you miss it.
Yeah.
That's not really how you should be thinking about it when you're actually playing. But that is, results wise, that is the brutal truth of it. It either goes in or it doesn't. And that's where, under pressure, it's more noticeable there. If you miss a fairway off a tee that you should hit, you can get away with it because you can hit your next shot close and be all right. But, you stand over a 4 or 5 foot putt and miss it, there's no getting away.
There's no hiding from that.
Yeah, you can't get away with it. So that'll be the bit. I think in any golf tournament, men's, women's, juniors, amateur, pro, whatever, that's the bit that I think that's the real character test, is because that is, there's no recovering from, there's no making up for a missed 4 or 5 footer. That's how it is. You miss it or make it and you go to the next. That's as simple as that, really.
So who's going to win?
Oh,
because I've heard a lot of chat about America being young, being inexperienced, but being stronger on paper. I think probably that might be something you could have said about the Ryder Cup at the Golf National.
Yeah,
the Americans being stronger on paper.
Yeah,
and Europe absolutely trounced all over them.
Yeah, agreed.
So
brilliantly, yeah.
So who do you think is walking away with it?
I mean, obviously, my heart says Europe. I'd love to see Europe win it, but I think my head says Europe as well. I just think I take your point about the youth and the coming through, but I think that is an event where you've got guys or girls, sorry, like Anna Nordqvist and Suzanne Pedersen, who they just have oodles of experience. And if they can be influential, off the course and help the couple of rookies that Europe have, I think that's great. And although the US do have a couple of big names, Morgan Pressel's one of them, that have played a lot, I just see that experience being too strong. Obviously Europe playing in front of the home crowds at Glen Eagles. I hope more than anything, but I would genuinely lean slightly towards the Europeans anyway.
So,
yourself?
I mean, purely to be contradictory.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
I think America are going to win.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want them to win. I don't think they're going to win. But purely to be contradictory and make this vaguely interesting.
Yeah.
America are definitely,
okay.
Absolutely, definitely
going to smash them.
You talk about the experience in the European team. I think Jodie Hewitt-Shadoff, for instance, was one of the captain's picks.
Yes.
But despite being a captain's pick, we know she's good at match play, don't we, mate?
We do. Yeah. What are we now? I'm 32, so about 16 years ago, she smashed me up 1 down, I might add, in an England under-16 boys versus England under-18 girls friendly. I should say, not that I'm bitter about this, one little bit.
Sure.
But back then they had something they called bisques, which I'd not heard of at the time.
A bisque?
Yeah.
Right.
So for guys that aren't familiar, it is basically, it's like having a shot, but you can call it after the hole.
So, right, hang on, let me get this right. So I'm playing you.
Yes.
I've got a bisque.
You do. Yes.
Okay, and we finish a hole.
Yes.
I make a 6.
Yes.
You make a 5 because
Yes.
it's a par 5 and you're
Yes.
playing conservatively.
Yes.
And I'm playing out my skin.
Yeah.
And I say, actually, mate, on the next tee, I can say, I have my shot there. You didn't win that hole.
I don't know officially when you can call it,
Oh.
but I feel like
on the drive on the way home.
yeah,
mate,
just call them up and say, by the way,
I'm having that.
I feel like it's courteous to call it sort of as soon as the hole's finished,
Right,
rather
okay,
than let
fine.
me walk to the next tee, peg it up, and go, oh, actually, it's my honour. But I mean, yeah, I think, yeah. So basically, I was one down playing the last, and she just sort of got on the tee and casually said, "Yeah, I'm going to take my last bisque on this hole." her second of two, and
No chance.
at that point my heart sank. And that was that. Yeah, she got the W. So
Very good.
Yeah,
That is smart strategy.
yeah. So I mean, if she can beat me as a 16-year-old boy,
yeah.
there's no one she can't beat.
There's no
to be
one,
quite
literally
honest.
nobody
Yeah,
she can't
literally,
beat.
Yeah.
Right, we'll take that. I mean, I'm changing my pick. Europe are going to win.
Well,
Absolutely
I mean,
gonna
there
win.
you go.
I think the last thing I'd say on the Solheim Cup, and it covers across for so all these events, Ryder Cup, Walker Cup, all of them, President's Cup, is no matter where your heart lies, no matter who you're rooting for, you take the Golf National, you take the Ryder Cup last year, even though at the end of it, it was a really comfortable win for Europe on paper. There was that 90-minute stretch on the Sunday where I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
And I thought this could go very badly, very quickly.
I think, I mean, you just have to look at yesterday, the Walker Cup finished. You know, GB and I had a lead going into the singles, and they got trounced, I hate to say, in the singles. I don't think you can ever really write off the Americans when it comes to singles.
No.
There's just something about singles and the Americans that they absolutely love. And unless you've got I don't even know, a 4 or 5 point lead going into the singles against an American team, I don't think
You're always watching your back.
I don't think you can ever write them off. And, you know, like you say, Ryder Cups, things like that, there is always that time where you go as a European fan, if you're 2 or 3 points up, you go from that going, I'm just going to enjoy my Sunday, have a couple of beers, watch Europe win the Ryder Cup, love life, to going, oh my God, this isn't going to happen. Like, America are going to turn it round. There's always that 90-minute spell, and I'm always amazed. You know, they say it all the time. It's a cliche. You know, all the putts seem to go in for America, and then it does flip round, and then, you know, we saw America coming back at us in the Ryder Cup, and then Europe sort of stemming the tide and then turning it round, and then obviously it all finishing basically with Mickelson literally wrapping the Ryder Cup up and giving it to us and saying, here you go, I'm just going to hit it in this water hazard. As long as you don't follow me in Molinari, it's yours.
You've got it.
You can have your 5-0 and become a legend. Well done, you. And yeah, there is always that ebb and flow, and I think hopefully, you know, like I say, you know, the Europe can get past it and do the business.
Right, very good. So I think we're wrapping it. I think we both agreed that Europe are winning. As much as I tried to make it interesting.
Yeah.
So we're closing it out now. As I sort of said halfway through, our first proper episode is going to be looking back after Wentworth is over. We'll be there on the Sunday, so we'll be talking about who we saw, what we saw, who won, and all things in between, where you can get the best coffee and bacon roll at Wentworth. Just before then, Tom, when are you next playing golf?
My next event will be the English County Finals, which is at Huddersfield Golf Club, which is the last Friday, Saturday and Sunday of September.
Excellent, very good. My next event is the Kings Hill Charity Captain's Texas Scramble.
Some would say that's bigger than the English County Finals.
I'd say that comfortably. There'll be bigger field,
which
is my first Texas Scramble for probably 15 years. So
I can only apologise to Ben's playing partners in advance.
Absolutely outrageous, but absolutely justified.
Absolutely true.
So I think we're going to call it a day there. For those of you who've got to the end of this, my God, well done. We
will work on the intro.
We'll work on the intro. We'll work on the whole blooming podcast, I think. You can follow us on Instagram. It's probably the best place to follow us, which if you just search Shankers Golf Podcast, you'll find us on Instagram. That's where we post stuff about us, our golf, funny things we find, random stuff we find, and information about the podcast. So that's where you can find us. That's it. That's the launch, the practice episode. I don't know whether I'm going to edit it or just put it out warts and all like it is, but that's it. So there we go. That's it. Tom, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Thanks very much. Bye.